Territory, but a very busy individual. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carolyn Phiri Chibawe.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone.
You are a woman of influence, a woman of impact, and a woman who makes a difference for the kingdom. And so I think one of the first questions I would like to ask you is, as an amazing woman of God, with the kinds of significant demands that are on your time, where do you find your strength to get out of bed every day?
Thank you, Colonel. So maybe I can start by introducing myself.
Lovely.
So I am a soldier of the Salvation Army. I am a Christian and I'm a married woman. I'm also a medical doctor. Have been for the past more than 20 years. I congregate at Lusaka City Temple, the Salvation Army, Lusaka City Temple. And there I also have a position as Assistant Co-Sergeant Major. But I also have a full-time job as a housewife and a full-time job as I work with PATH, an organization which looks at health, and I'm managing malaria program there. So what makes me wake up in the morning? I think it's really, you have to wake up with prayer. I usually start my day very early and I speak to God. I tell God about my fears, I tell him about my weaknesses, I tell him what is happening at the office, I tell him about my children, my husband, and whatever it is that I can be able to share with him. And I think with that, it gives me the drive to be able to manage so many things and be able to manage both the work and the home. And I think this decision where I'm able to do all these things, I take it from my mom. My late mom used to wake up very, very early. By the time we were waking up, she had already done her prayers and she had made breakfast for us.
Wow.
So I think that family support has really been there from a very, very early on. I also gained a lot of strength from my dad. My dad was a very strong influencer in my life. When I was quite young, he actually was there for me. He encouraged me and he taught me that a woman had to achieve a lot, and that helped me also. And also I think the family support, my husband and my sons, I'm surrounded by men in the home, and that has helped me that even if you're a woman, you can work with the men and they can help you and they can build you up. So it's really that whole support of having God at the center and also the support of the family. That's what gives me the drive.
It sounds like God has given you a cheerleading team.
Yes.
To just push you forward.
Yes, actually that's very true. I think you can call it that.
And one area that you didn't mention, but I think is really important for those who've joined us, is that you are one of the Board of Trustees for the Zambia Territory. So you're bringing your expertise, your passion for Christ, your knowledge of community, and applying that at, can we say, the corporate level of the Salvation Army, as well as the individual service that you're...
Yes, and I think I can speak to that. Actually, the opportunity to serve on the board, I think also brings out the passion I have to help people. I think when I was young, as I said, I was actually attracted to being a doctor at a very young age. When I was about grade 2 or 3, I had TB and TB of the lymph nodes, and at that time the treatment was quite long. So I spent about 2 years in hospital, and that gave me the drive to work hard, but also to have that passion for medicine. And as I continued working in that field, I drew the passion to help women and children. And helping women and children, I think, as you find out about them, investigate their social background, and also try to help. So being on the board, I think that's where that element has come in, being able to hear the voice of the community, the voice of my other colleagues as members, and get their voices and bring it to this corporate body that can be able to guide how the Salvation Army should be in Zambia. That opportunity, I think, is very amazing for me. It has built me up. It has built me in my profession, but I think I've also brought my professional skills to the board as well to be able to help.
So with all of that passion and energy that you bring to each and every day, you bring to your church life, you bring to the corporate body of the Army. You've said to me on a few occasions that you have a real sense of calling. This is not just about corporate social responsibility or something nice to do. It really comes out of your calling to serve as a believer. Can you share something about your actual calling to medicine? Because it impacts community so greatly.
Yes, I think for my calling to medicine, I think the time I spent in hospital attracted me to medicine. I used to be fascinated with people who could come and ask you questions, and just by asking you questions, at that time I thought they were like magicians. They ask you a few questions and they're able to tell you this is what you have.
Right.
But then as I grew and as I started looking for what is it that I want to do in life, medicine was always there for me, and my father encouraged me to go for it. In medicine, I think it's not only helping to treat, the tablets are there, but the whole rounded component of a human being. You need to know this woman, where does she come from? What is it that's making the child have malnutrition? Is it that she doesn't know that the child needs food? She does. But what are the cultural background? Can she access food? Or if she does have food, does she know the right food? So the social background of the health is what really, really attracted me to medicine. So I'm able to identify it as that area, and that's the area I've actually even focused on maternal and child health. I support reproductive health, the right of the woman to be able to make a choice of how many children she wants, the woman being able to decide when she can go to the hospital, when she needs to go to the hospital, what food she should give. So all that component of a woman and a child, the health of a woman and a child, is what drives me in medicine. That's where my passion is. So I've grown this over the years, and that is where I've actually been able to focus mostly on.
And you're qualified OBGYN?
Yes, I've actually done reproductive health and public health. Okay. So I've spent quite a lot of time in those areas.
So there were many of us who wished you were there when we were having our small ones.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. In terms of the call to medicine, you've talked about the holistic approach to life and your concern for women. Your calling to medicine has been very specific, and you've mentioned family pieces. Your calling to service within the church. There would be those who would say, I have limited time, as we all do. However, the demands that are on your time, where do you also find or make the time, in addition to as being a medical profession, in the local church? Like, how do you do it?
I think in the local church, it's that I also get satisfaction by being there. I think the giving gives me the satisfaction. So my passion in the church is really the young people. When I was at secondary school, I was attracted to Sunday school. I worked in Sunday school quite a lot. I think the good thing about the children is that I always believe that they're like an empty sponge which absorbs, and give them the right thing to absorb, and they'll take it up as value of life. So I found time to work in Sunday school, and I did that until recently when I went to work more at administrative as assistant co-sergeant major. And even when I finished university, when I went out into the world, I got married. When I came back to refocus on church, I went back to Sunday school. So I've worked in that field for a long time, and I've got the greatest fulfillment in that area. I think my favorite part is when they're able to perform in front. They give out their lungs, no matter whether they make mistakes, they give it out. So that is where I get the satisfaction. In the other areas, women's ministries, I like it when we go out and help women. I think when we go to Home League and be able to listen and hear from the older people, learn from the older people, impart to everyone really. We learn a lot from the young people, we learn a lot from the older people, but being able to depend on a fellow woman, I think that has also been a great fulfillment to me. And
so it's the impact of intergenerational, right?
Yes, I think that's a great part about the Home League. We've got the older generations, we've got the widows, we've got the divorcees, we've got the singles, we've got the married. And all that, you learn a lot from one another. That is where you can depend on. When you're in trouble, you know who you can call upon. When you need to know how to cook something correctly, you know who you can call upon. When you need to sew your curtains, you know who you can call upon. So all those skills in those different women, I think that's a great fulfillment as well.
I mean, those are amazing words of wisdom, and we do that on this side of 21 years old.
Yes.
What do you know today that you wish somebody would have told you when you were 21 and in university?
I think when I was 21,
Or 18,
or
somewhere
18,
in there,
really,
sure.
when I was much younger. I think the thing is I worried a lot about what people thought of me. At that time I was worried about my pimples, I was worried whether I would get a boyfriend or not. I was worried, there was a lot I was worried, and I had to measure up to my friends. And that, I think now, what I've come to realize is that actually nobody bothers about your pimples. You'll find that all of you have pimples, most probably at that time.
Yeah.
So I think what I've come to learn is that what we worry about most is not what really are worried about. People value you for you to listen to them, or for the friendship, and they love you for who you are. And if the more genuine and the more individualized you are, the more friends you have, the more people will value you for who you are. So I think I worried what people cared about me more than now. I've come to realize that actually, even if they do, they will not, you shouldn't conform your life to live like them. Focus on where you're going, and then that is what is going to build it.
And be comfortable in your skin.
Be comfortable in your skin, be comfortable with who you are. I think that's the best that I realized.
Great
I worried
encouragement.
too much.
Well, I think as many of us have, and in
Yes.
hindsight you look back and realize that, it wasn't as important as you thought it was.
No, it isn't actually. Most people don't actually care whether you have high heels or you don't, as long as you can walk properly. That's what's most important. Because some people, you have high heels and you can't walk in heels. And I was very tall and thin, and I was a sporty person. I was a tomboy.
Yeah.
So conforming to look like a girl really, really was a struggle. I mean, to act like a girl really was a struggle.
And some of us were really short and struggled with wanting to look tall.
Taller, yes.
So there's a sense in which sometimes we're not happy no matter where we're at.
Yeah.
But I hear you say,
Be happy with what you have.
just be happy with
Yes.
what you have. So I have no doubt that there are young women Salvationists who are listening to you and undoubtedly admire you and say, wow, she has it all together. What piece of advice or encouragement can you give them?
So for the young people out there, there's a dream that you all have. There's something that you want to aspire to be. There's something that you want to be in life. So what you need to do is identify what is my biggest weakness right now, which can make me fail to achieve that. It could be I do not have the skills, or maybe I don't have the education, or maybe I don't have the right contacts. And here I mean integrity contacts, not contracts which compromise your integrity. You need to have, so once you identify that, go for that. Share that with God. You know, I wanted to be a doctor at a young age, and I believed in Philippians 4 verse 13 that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So God will help you with a dream. So if you have the dream where you want to go, you look at what are the weaknesses and the challenges that can make me not achieve that. Work on those. If it's education, do your best in education. If it's learning a trade, do your best in the trade. And try and achieve that. And always have integrity. You will be able to achieve it. And most importantly, pray to God to help you hone into that vision that you have. I believe you can be able to achieve a lot. Yes.
I'm inspired and deeply encouraged. So I want to say on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for taking time this afternoon.
Thank you.
And we just pray God's continued blessing on you as a woman of influence, that He will give you the energy and the continued passion to do the things that matter most to you. Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with everyone and to share my passion with the church.